So my talk is entitled Dependent Co-arising and the Victim Triangle. And it's a talk that I designed for my friends who are in the self-help conscious community space. So friends, I would like to share with you one of the key tenets of Buddhism that really is starting to change my life. And it's the Paticca Samuppada, dependent co-arising, which I prefer to translate into 21st century complexity science language. I know some of you are into this, as interdependence and reciprocal causation. I was raised Catholic by my paternal grandparents in the Philippines. And in the childhood understanding of the Catholic faith, it's very linear. There's a beginning, there's the original sin. Eve ate the apple because tempted by the snake. And it's quite linear, and there's an end time. And I have an immutable soul, an eternal soul that never changes. And with Paticca Samuppada, it's kind of refigured the way I think about this, about my ethics, in that instead of having this autonomous, immutable soul, I'm seeing that I am a product of conditions. And this is like clearly seen in your experience with the victim triangle. I will show this to you. So many of you are familiar in this, like there's three roles in it: the victim, the rescuer, and persecutor. So even though I grew up in the Philippines, my mother is Vietnamese and she left me when I was a baby. They were separated by the Vietnam War. So I fell into the role of the victim in this situation. Why did she leave me? What kind of woman would leave her son? And then, so she became the persecutor in this triangle, in this drama triangle. And then I looked for rescuers in my relationships, my girlfriends and other people. And then because I was feeling victimized, then I started to persecute my mother. So it's like this triangle that keeps on going. And later on, because of self-development, I learned to be more into the more empowered part, which is becoming more of a creator, challenger, and coach. But what is really key for me is that these roles are co-arising. It happens only because people play those roles. And now my mother and I have a good relationship because both of us stepped away from that role. And when we stepped away from that role, the whole thing it's not there anymore. So it gave me realize that like there is no inherent victim, because I went through all the roles. I was a victim one time, I was a persecutor. So there's no inherent non-changing self. It's just an aggregation of causes and conditions. And then I looked at, instead of changing myself, blaming myself, asking for forgiveness, I look at the conditions that led to this. And for example, with my mother, we are together, we are better together in a relationship when we're not in the same house. So I changed the condition, and it released a lot of this as well. So it's like I'm beginning to see more and more of my ethical life as this co-arising of causes and conditions. And so it's not like I'm blaming anyone anymore or being resentful, because that thing that is an I, their I and my I, is not real. It's real at the moment, but it keeps changing. So it's giving me more room to be curious about what could happen, what's possible. And just to link it to our lectures and our check-ins, when we, after the check-in and the checkout, there's always the question, how can I be the best I could be? So in the last few moments we have, I invite you to just be silent and just think of the times in your life where you moved into this drama triangle with people, where you fell into victim, persecutor, or rescuer role, and just see with a little bit understanding of Paticca Samuppada, what can you do to just change the conditions?